This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2025 Starcraft GSL travel trailer, model number 290 RLS. Okay, so this is a how-to video. I'm just going to show you some of the features and how they work. So, here we are at the rear door side, rear of the trailer. You can see we have signal out and TV signal out and power. Now here, just so you know what's here, is a quick connect for the LP system. So to add a griddle or a grill, you would connect it right to the system there. You also have crank down you have power stabilizers. The switches on the other side, I'll show you those. Two switches when you get up there. One switch is for the rear, the other one's for the front. But keep in mind, there's going to be a crank up front in the compartment, and it's going to fit right over this shaft with a pin through it. It's going to have a cylinder with a slot cut in it, so it'll fit right over there. And the idea is you can crank these manually if something happens, if you lose power or something like that. You can always get yourself out of trouble using that crank. You can just put them on here and crank them up and down manually in an emergency, okay? I'll show you that crank when we get up to it. Okay, you have a power awning with LED strip here on your slide room. You have another one on the slide out wall. Okay. This is your pass-through storage here. Now this is pre-wired for cameras here, so there's going to be one of these on the other side of the trailer, and then there's also a pre-wire on the back for a backup camera also. So you have the front side cameras and then a backup camera. It's pre-wired for the Furion kit if you're interested in that. Okay, so let me get in here a little farther. I mentioned the crank with the cylinder with a slot cut in it that fits over that part I just showed you. That's it right there. Okay, then that's just a regular 3/4 inch there. But this one here, the smaller one, this is for the power tongue jack. It's an emergency crank also. If you happen to have issues with your power tongue jack, it fails for any reason, you can pull this plug off the top here, put that crank on there, and you can crank that manually also to get yourself out of trouble. So two different cranks to get yourself out of trouble. This is your dump hose here. You have a hitch with this. It's a Husky centerline weight distribution hitch with built-in sway control. We'll show you how that operates when you pick up. Okay. Also, this has a solar panel, so this is your, I don't know if you can see it here. Let's see. There you go. That's your solar controller right there. So you can see it's going to just rotate through the different screens. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. Let's see. There's three of them. This is the most important one here. The top number says 13.9. That's DC volts in the system. So it'll come around again here. 13.9 volts DC in your system, which is perfect. When it comes around again, the number below it is the amp gain. The amount of amps that's being converted from sunlight and stored in your battery, which is 1.7, 1.8, if you saw that. I know it's kind of hard to see, but we're gaining and storing 1.7 amps from the sun right now. This is your total voltage here from the solar panel back, and that's the temperature of this there, so it's 68 degrees, okay? It says flooded, if you can see on that line there. If you change your batteries to, if you're going to put lithium in or something like that down the line, you have to physically change that from flooded to lithium or to gel, whichever type of battery you add. So keep that in mind. In the future, if you ever change them out, you have to tell this controller that you've done that, okay? Alright, and this is a kill switch here, okay? Very simple. Okay, so you have a deep cycle marine battery. You've got 2 LP tanks. Your power tongue jack, which we talked about, has a light on it also. Your docking lights here. That's up at the top. Anyway, that's your docking light. And then this is just a view from the other side here. Okay. So here is the switch for your front stabilizers. One switch controls both front. So very simple. There's another switch in the back that controls both back ones, door side and off door side. This is your water heater here. This works on both gas and electric. You can see that your anode rod slash plug is not installed right now because the water heater is empty. It's bypassed and is empty because this trailer is winterized. So keep that in mind. I'll show you the switches to operate this when we get inside, but the important thing to remember is that you don't want to run this without water in the water heater tank. So before you run it, always make sure you have water in there. So when you're getting ready to camp and you put your plug in there, and of course your bypass valves on the back will be in the correct position for camping. Make sure you fill it up by turning on a hot water faucet. You hook up city water. Make sure it's turned on. Then you'll go inside and you'll turn on any hot water valve. Just say the kitchen sink hot water. Air will come out because the tank is empty. Then as it fills, it'll be a mixture of air and water. It'll kind of come spitting out. Eventually you'll get a solid stream of water. Then that's when you know the tank's full. Okay? All right. That's your water heater. Of course, valves. You can see them all. Those are your low points there. Your black valve, your gray valve. Okay. You have a 50 amp power cord. We give you this reducer with it to reduce it down to a 30, so you can always, even if you come across a campground with no 50 amp, you can still reduce it down. There's the rear switch for the stabilizers. This is your docking station here. So you can see that you hook your hot water right up to here, your city water, right? It's in this position. This blue valve lever here is in this position so that you're on city water. If you're camping someplace without city water and you need to fill the fresh water tank to take water with you, you can just change it to this position here. So you can see it says it right there, tank fill, and you fill the tank, and then when you get where you're going, you can turn on the water pump. It's got a 12-volt water pump inside. I'll show you the switch when we get in there. But you turn on the water pump and it'll pump water from the tank, and all the plumbing will work as though you have city water, even though you'll be pumping from the tank. So you've got two options when it comes to water. This is your this is a shower or sprayer water. You got hot and cold water here, and there's a coiled sprayer in the front compartment that I don't think I showed you, but it's up there, and that would connect into this port here. This is your black tank flush. Thing to remember about the black tank flush is never turn on the water unless the black tank valve is open. So you'll hook your hose up to the dump station, right? Then you'll pull your black tank and let it drain, right? After you do that, you leave the valve in the open position. You'll hook the hose at the dump station right onto here. You'll turn it on and then spray it out. It'll spray out the tank. It'll clean off the sensor so you get a good accurate reading, that sort of thing. But if you leave the hot water dump valve closed, too much pressure can build up, and you don't want that. So always leave that valve open while you're using this. Okay, that's important. There's your housing for your backup camera. Furrion pre-wire, like I said. You have a ladder, which is great. It makes it easy to inspect the roof. The manufacturer states every 90 days or so you should go up there and look at the roofing attachments and look at the roofing material. Make sure none of them were damaged by, let's say, low branches or road debris. You're going to look at the sealant. Make sure there's no cracking or separation that water can get through. That sort of thing. Odds are you won't have to do anything for years, but that's why you inspect it, just in case. You're just staying ahead of any potential issues. So inspecting your roof is an important thing, but whoever does it has to be very careful, obviously. All right. Okay. So here we are inside. Alrighty, so this is your control panel here. It's kind of hard to see. I'll turn on your lights. You have a master switch here, plus you can scroll through everything here too. So while we're here, I can't show you everything. It's pretty self-evident, but this goes up and down to scroll up and down here. This selects pages here. So here, we'll go fan. I just had furnace. If I push again, the next one would be air conditioner, right? Let me back out of this. So you see right there, there's your levels of water, fresh, gray, and black in your tanks. Your water pump, which is off. We talked about you use the water pump to pump water out of the fresh water tank when you if you don't have city water. You also use the water pump to winterize the trailer. Then you can scroll down and well, you can turn it on and off here. See, it says on there and off there. So to turn the pump on, you would just go push that button and it'll turn it on. Your water heater on electricity, the electric heating element, you can turn that on there. The gas water heater element would be the gas water heater burner is right below it. So you select all that stuff from there. So everything is selected from this panel, and including your slide rooms and your awnings, your power awnings, all that stuff. There's your back to the furnace mode that we just talked about. Right now the furnace is running, which I'm going to I think I'm going to see if I can shut it off here, if I can remember how. Oh, that's wrong. So there's your awnings there in your slide rooms. I should be doing this much easier here. I just have to figure out what I'm doing here for a second. There we go. So I got the furnace. Now just turn the fan on for a second, and you can set your temperature there. Right now it's at 67 for some reason. It's only 47 in the trailer. We just pulled it outside. So anyway, you can mess with it, and all the controls are here. Now this one right below it is your carbon monoxide and LP gas detector. It should always be glowing green like it is. If it's not glowing green, get it serviced. It's obviously very important. So never ignore it. Always get it taken care of if it's not working. This device here is your converter that converts. It's a power converter. It converts AC to DC power. So here's you have regular 120 AC circuit breakers like you'd see at home, and they're all labeled here. Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC here, and you got 12 volt DC fuses and breakers here, and they're all labeled here. Plus it's a battery tender. As long as you're plugged in to shore power, it'll sense how much energy your batteries have and need, and it'll always keep your batteries charged. So when you're plugged in, this power converter will charge your battery. When you're pulling down the road, your tow vehicle charges the battery, and your solar panel charges the battery as it can, depending on the climate outside, the weather conditions, the time of year, the position of the sun compared to the trailer. All that stuff and more affects how much electricity you're getting from the sun. So, but that will store in the battery also. Okay, that's the power converter. So your refrigerator is a 12 volt. Let me see what we got here. 12 volt DC refrigerator with a freezer on the bottom. Your range hood is right here with a fan. Your microwave works like any other microwave. Your range is a newer model. I don't know if he's got. He must have the gas turned on. I'm running the furnace, so I think it's on. But these you just. Let me get this straight so I do this correctly. I guess I should know what I'm talking about before I. I do this? It's high. Oh boy. Aha. So the oven has a pilot light here, it looks like. Well, I tell you what, rather than just give you bad information, I'm not familiar. I did not prep this trailer. I'm not familiar with this particular oven. I would assume you would just, oh, there it goes. Okay. I didn't turn it on. Okay. See? Magic. On, off, right there. Here we go. Okay. And then you light it like that. Okay. So I was doing it correctly up to the point where I did not turn it on. So there's, you just use run your finger over that to turn it on and off. And you can select the oven right there. Okay. And when the burners are burning, it changes color. So you can see it plainly, which is good. Okay, let me see. And you can shut it off right there. See? Look at that. I actually did something right by accident. That's pretty good. Okay, and always travel with this shut too. Alrighty. TV works like any other TV, but keep in mind it does more than any other TV. It's got FM radio, it's got Bluetooth, you can select speaker zones. You have HDMI that you can access easily from up front, so you could add a, let's say a portable Blu-ray player or something. You could plug it into it very easily. All right. You also have your fireplace, and there are remotes for all this stuff. I don't know exactly where he put them, but let's look in the obvious places here. Well, maybe they're not that obvious, huh? Okay. Okay. Oh, there they are. I see them over on the table. Okay. So this would be the remote. Those are your TV remote. And this is your fireplace here. So this is a newer model with all the new colors too. It's look at this. It also set it to rotate through the colors also. You get a lot of them. You can set the temperature, obviously. When I did that, the fan really kicked on, so it's really kicking the heat right now, so it's a really good space heater. It also has a timer on it, so you can set it to, you know, shut off at a certain time or turn on maybe you know, a half hour before you get up in the morning, something like that. So it does a lot. Okay. So you have the remote, or you can push the buttons right there. So this would be a hide-a-bed. You pull the cushions right off. So you pull the cushions off and set them aside, the back cushions. Then you grab it down here, you fold it out 2 panels and drop the legs, and then fold the 3rd one down, and you got a 3-panel hide-a-bed, which is it's actually a really nice, as hide-a-beds go, it's a really nice one. It's actually comfortable. And of course your theater seats. Get some storage down here. This probably comes down. Yes, it comes down, and you got cup holders plus some a charging station, and a regular AC power. Your chairs, of course. Always, let me look and see what we've got here, but you got straps for the chairs. You always want to strap the chairs down. You don't strap them to keep them from moving. They're going to wiggle around. You just don't want them to bounce around and break something when you're going down the road. You hit some wild bumps and they take off, and they could do some damage, so you're just sort of tying them down. Okay? And this pulls out too, so you have that. Let's go this way. Bathroom. Most important thing to remember about the shower is to always latch it open when you're traveling. You know, you can unlatch it, but it can break on you with these doors slamming back and forth when you're traveling down the road. So you always want to latch them open so they're fixed and secure, okay? You have a fan, of course, and a skylight. The toilet works like all RV travel trailer toilets in that it sits right over a black tank. You have a flush pedal right here. So when you get to the campground, you hook up your power and your water. You'll come in here and you'll put a dose of chemical right in the bowl. Then you'll step on the pedal and hold it down and let the water flow along with the chemical into the tank below. You put at least a gallon of water in there along with the chemical. You can use more than a gallon, just don't use less. Most people use more than a gallon. It's up to you, but the bottom line is never use it dry, never use it without chemical or water, because it'll get clogged up, the smell will be terrible, and it'll just be a mess. So always, when you're starting off with an empty tank, a tank that's been dumped, when you're starting off, you always put a dose of chemical and at least a gallon of water in there, okay? All right. See what else we have here? So you have storage under the bed, of course. Emergency escape window, which works like they all do. Push it all the way through, then you grab hold of this tab and pull the screen out to escape. You have shades. You'll have a TV hookup here, right here. Okay, this green light tells you the digital antenna is on. This is for the TV up front too. If you shut it off, you won't get a good picture. You always want it glowing green, okay? And there's got a backing plate for a bracket so you can watch TV when you're laying down. This is kind of important if your family uses a lot of Wi-Fi. I know this says 5G on it. This is a pre-wire. But just set aside the 5G and think public Wi-Fi. If you scan the code and you go and look and see what kind of kits they've got for this, most people who get this option are interested in the public Wi-Fi booster. So look and see what, there's a port on the roof where an antenna would hook up, and then a router box goes right here. So you got a router plus a digital antenna for a Wi-Fi antenna, and it'll just give your family better public Wi-Fi. It really boosts the signal. So if you're interested, that's pre-wired for that also. Just scan the code and take a look. This is a 50 amp system. I don't see a sticker here, but I can pretty much tell you that this would be pre-wired for a second air conditioner that would fit right in here. So keep that in mind. This looks like a pre-wire, and the air conditioner would fit right in that right in this hole here, where if you remove this vent, it would fit right in there. The controls would be right on the unit. So keep that in mind. That's why you have the 50 amp system. Okay, all right, so I think that covers it. I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Please remember what I said about inspecting the roof every 90 days. That's important. And right now this is winterized, so there's antifreeze in the system. The water's been purged out. The water heater is bypassed and empty right now. Keep in mind when it comes time to camp, you want to flush out the system, then put the valves on the water heater back into camping mode. Put the drain plug in there and fill your water heater tank before you start using it. Okay? Thank you very much.